Ejemo aha Allahu adebo ife anuncho drolo ke mobonalo manche ye kujomo gbile no lepe ji moni woja le nompe ingo wobio yilike bua mo ife kejo obila ke ikan ne pleke jomo edromo ke bo mana machine ke ba wahi enyelo ni jigbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam no ke me fe ni wale na she Islam ne mwene gbine Islam ibasho mo ebi won Allahu ake hini woto faye ewo bon eje hinu wa yi mo hu ye e ha wo hyefi mo eje me e kai na ekudo kenye Islam tempo no ke je ba che wo hu e che wo be mi ni woni twume papa e se hi agbene Islam hejole ngam ya assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh noji ngamo ni nke nganya be mi ni won pe nyi kemba ne ke gbeji anoto ne no bene ayi chuwe ni wo ko ji anger management in Islam moko mi efu etui eba te aba fe ten ne ken gbomone ne emi efun lo etui eba ne etui ba abashi ne e afite nnoko lo eke na agbako e aban ye blofo wie mo mi ka ke anga ne ji mi mfu te shishi noni meni ikase adesa shin le mi sane meni ko boni wodwemo twoni ke wo susumon ye ni biahe ni blofo mi aba aka ke psychology say no na meke eji anga lo mi fun eji henunu moko ni moko na susumoko ni moko na keji ibalake noko ni ipagbe lo esusun ake nakani eba aba ni nakani eba ni nale ni ejie minche ni eyo yemi nojino ni ameke blofo mi achola ake anga lo minfu ye Islam Quran icho niji eten kuku niji oha nyumai eten ke ashi oha nyumai eten ke ejwe Quran chapter 3 verse 133 to 134 nyumbo ewie meni yo nyumbo gbe shimohe ni eha wole ake suban kome ni yo me ni yo nyumbo gbe shimo heji amemiyo amemimfu be me ni nyumbo ke we Quran me ke bismillahir rahmanir rahim ye Allahu drolo ke mobo na lo gba me ke wasari'u ila magfiratin min rabbikum nye ya nye hu yai nye kenye ya shia akan ni nyentawo nyumbo imobo namo wa jannatin arduha samawati wal ard ni agbene ne kan shin na je ne nyumbo kenye hesha akenye pekeke shin agbene ke chona kan nye oya yeli ye na kan shin ye mi nye ntawo ni nyumbo abo ni ji paradiso abo ihanye ko ne ke arduha samawati wal ard ne ke paradiso ne ilemo ke dale ile ni ida fingwen ke shikon u idat lil muttaqin nakan abo ni ji paradiso enyumbo ke esa etu ke ha meni yo nyumbo gbe yeshimo ke nyumbo ke wiemo wa bi enkwen ekwe maka ake o meni yo nyumbo gbe yeshimo mfatai ekwe bo ho ba aka ake meni yo nyumbo gbe yeshimo ufatai iwo nyumbo chon wa meni ji almuttaqin ni ichi ameta ebie ni teno ni ke allazina yunfikuna fi sarai wa dara meni yo nyumbo gbe shimo ne ameji meni ninamo ni nyumbo ke dro amehu amekpa ameninimi amefio ejuno amejio amebu amekrokume fi sarai bemini ni bi ye melo ke hame wa darai bemini ni bi amehu wa ke hame tetepoe amefio ejuno wo meni yo nyumbo gbe shimo jeja amena shikababa o ni amehe ejo ame dana amefio ejuno shibemi ni bi mi wako tetepoe amefio ejuno Ni kene bi min wa ha me ho amefio ejono. Ni nyimbote no ke wal kazimina al gaiza amemio amemimfu meni yo nyumbogbe ehimo nyumbo ya ka amemimfu e kemo ku nyumbogbe ehimo emimfu e dabi emimfu shinyimboke wal kazimina al gaiza amemio na kan mimfu eja ke ko kwebo ni ama mimfu ye blofu emi amale ake anger 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 ke oke di wo anger himpe keke echon danger ni chon ake ke o minfu ni oya to ogbejian no ojogba o ba fiteni o ba pata ma hin wonu mo ke wa ke wal kazimina al gaiza amemio ameminfu wal afina anin nas ni ke adesan ton ame ameke adesan atomo kiame meni yo nyumbogbe ehimo suba mi na ame yo nyumoke wallahu yuhibbul muksinin ake ene ni chumo papa ni hiwo nyumbo sumo meni chuo ni chumo papa wo islam eke kwa ake moni ja nyumbo moni yo nyumbogbe ehimo eminfu dabi emimbafu shike eminfu emio eminfu eka ka o mene inna nyumbo ninke inkele wi don mene inna nyumbo ninke mfe neke mfe na kan don da bi money ye nyumbo gbe ehimo efe na kan money ye nyumbo gbe ehimo eminfu all right shi emio eminfu ni agbene meni ton le eka me tomo ekiame. Very distinguished listeners, I greet you with the Islamic fraternal salutation of peace and unity, encapsulated in the traditional Arabic expression of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, as I welcome you to yet another edition of this program. Today, we want to look at anger management in Islam. Psychologists have told us, by way of simple definition, so that you and I will understand it in the simplest of terms. They have defined anger as the feeling one experiences within himself or within herself when something happens against his desire, his wishes, and his will. You wish that something else should happen, and then something untoward happens, something you had not expected. The feeling, the experience that you get out of that situation is what is known as anger. So what does Islam say about anger if you want to look at anger management in Islam? I want us to make a quick reference to Quran chapter 3, verse 133 to 134. When Allah was speaking in general terms about the God conscious, the God fearing ones, he mentioned the ability to control one's anger as one of the qualities or characteristics of the God-fearing. Allah says, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, and hasten to seek the forgiveness of your Lord. وَجَنَّةٍ, and then also a paradise. أَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, as wide as the heavens and the earth. Uiddat lil muttaqin. This garden, this paradise has been prepared for the God conscious. I'm sure if Allah were to have ended the verse here and had not continued further, you and I would have been left in a state of defining who the God conscious are. So Allah did us a favor by telling us those who are God fearing. So he went further to say, Allazina yunfikuna fi sarai wa darai, that indeed the God conscious, they are those who spend during the condition, the situation, the period of ease, wa darai, and even during adversity, when times are hard, when they find themselves in difficulties, they still spend in the way of their Lord. So it means the God-fearing do not only become charitable when they find themselves in a situation of ease, but whether they are in a situation of ease or they are in a difficult situation, their situation does not prevent them from being charitable. So irrespective of the period they find themselves in, they are still charitable. Wal kazimin al gaiza, and those who swallow their anger. It means Islam recognizes the fact that as human beings, we may become angry at certain points in time. But the most important thing is your ability to swallow your anger. So Allah says, wal kazimin al gaiza, those who swallow their anger. Wa afina anin nas, and those who pardon, they forgive those who wrong them. And because these are very noble acts, Allah goes on to say, wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin, that indeed Allah loves the doers of good. So believers, the God-fearing, they sometimes lose their temper. They become angry, but they are able to swallow their anger. They do not extend it beyond reasonable limits. That is one of their characters. Now, having told myself as well as you what the Quran says about anger, it is very important for you and I to fish out, identify, spell out some of the remote and near causes of anger, so that we may know what to do in such situations. So manyamen, wale noni Quran ewie ye minfu he. Ewo mini ji noni ke minfu ba. Ka wale ne kendi bi ne ekome. E ba anye ni ewawo. Bona afe ni ken na kan nokumba. Wo ba helishi. Ni wo ba adwofui ke ba agena. Klen ni ke minfu ba ji. Noni blofo mi a chola ke environment. Heni uyo. Kenke heni uyo nke kwa ako koye la no mimbafu. Lo koye America no mimbafu. Shikenke heni uyo minchon nakan mle chwa, nakan hingbe chwa mini omi bafu. Heni poteni uyo kemeni ebolebue. Bepie no juno ni kemi mfuba. Ekwo ya ata me kumate. Me ate no ata amenwie moko no sumo. Heni uyo nakan mle chwa keme ate ni uyo no bahani omi bafu. Noni jienyo waneji kada agbamu ni sena moko behi ene nyon etio meko maami mfunshi. Noni jiete aye feoko awie mo ni na kan wie mo ebemi mo akwela ka omi rough keke yo mi ye feoko keke shi ekwe mo ne ke wio eke yo ne ken fo ne le mo ekwa wie mo ake World Cup cry ni etwie ba ewo 4 yeli kome ni na kan fo ho no ye ekwe no wi opo de nche je anokwale ni ene ba anye ni ete me kome amemfunshi. Noni ji edwe Bepi ye wole noni minfu keba. Ene wo ake wole noni minfu keba hewo. Keni bi kometi no wosusu aka o sane miafu ni mafe no ko na amena ake imiefu. Shin ke wo shehe no ba aka se the effects of anger. Ke moko minfu noni ikeba. Wo ba na. Shin then wo ba sheje po na ke tafrache wo nupa eke abuini hi dola ishan akpa. Abuini hi dola ishan akpa. Wie mo wuluni. How much one is shikeba blofomi kuninke nibi kroko mehu afatai. So what are some of the immediate causes of anger? The first cause is the environment you find yourself in. If I talk about the environment, I'm not talking specifically about maybe you find yourself in you find yourself in America, you find yourself in London. No, I'm talking about the midst of the people, the causative factors, where you find yourself in at the point when you begin to lose your cool. Maybe it could be the presence of a family member that is causing the anger. It could be the presence of a classmate or someone else. So the environment is very, very important. Secondly, disputation or arguing over very trivial or petty issues. You see, these disputes and arguments do not take us anywhere, especially when you are not called upon to prove your innocence or otherwise in something. So you just need to sit up, ask yourself, is it even worth losing my anger? So disputation and argument sometimes cause anger. The third factor is joking falsely or false jokes. You say things you thought, oh, I am just making jest of him or her, just to make people laugh. But the other person takes serious exception to the things you are saying about him. You thought you were just playing with your friend. Oh, but he's my friend. Why must he lose his school if I say ABC about him or her? But that is what is pushing him or her to become angry. There is very, very important. It's very, very important for us to consider these issues very well. The fourth reason is being unconscious of the consequences of anger. So sometimes you think, oh, because this person said ABC, I have to act in a particular way to show them that I am angry, so that they don't repeat it again. You may say you want to demonstrate how angry you are, but perhaps you are unaware of the consequences of that anger. Because as we speak now, some people are behind bars because they lost their cool. They became angry and acted in a particular way. Some marriages have broken down because someone said something and the other person became angry. Someone has lost his or her employment because within the office space, someone acted in a particular way, and instead of controlling himself, restraining himself, he uttered something, or even out of anger, typed his resignation letter and then resigned, and the person is out of work now. So sometimes you don't know the consequences of the anger or the consequences of anger. That is why we go that way. Noniji enumo. Dagbie moku ejie hie ake esumo sane ke na boe ekebo mfe gidigiri tumo etu ane plabo be febe no ke mo ba akpe hekwe ha oli ake boe insumo sane kote nwe no ba shmo de njepo insumo sane obe febe ne ke gbomo na ko kele pe obi ba fun eja ke bi aboni ehwe ekpakpa ha boe bo ngbeku be ni ko na le oba chohin ni okele ba wi ye minche agbere no ni ji ekpa ni oba wi no ko ye mokohe ni mo ba na ke lo mo ba susu ake bule ni yo ke hale na kan bule no echelo no egbo ene enyo eti omi amenfunshi noni jipa o ona henowo mo baba o moku eni ewu eheno o aka na ewu eheno wo me kroko me na ekeshna ebu ame ke ha noko edna amake taflache me ku me poji am taflache edna amake takohwe koni keji eye ni na ekwu ehwe ebe anya eketwumoje lo ekeba atwumo na ne hemulue dande ba aka isacho no neke gbomo na be aboni bu ebe fe be blofo ke you look down on others obu amake taflache meku mepo oji ame na kan gbe me ame obe fe be ka meke bo pe eke minfun baba agbene noni jikpa anyo ona ni woba kai wohi blema sajin komenehu wata radio no wo ihe abo no komoniko shiton bo ni be ku meku me bon ma Ghana blema sajin history ni ne kemane na meke mene me twata ye afia akpekome o hai pa anyo nyonwenyo ke edu emi ni mene me sashin ni mene me onke eni wo ye wo blema sajin ami ayiko wodan ime ko gba bo ba la na epo keke ni wo yo akucho ne ba ake ni wo fe neke ni wo neke ona blema sajin ko meye ni ka botemi ni abagba anan tu enjole ni abahinshi ye tu enjole ni wo blema bi na mete ama mesajin ni ama meke ya fellow believers sometimes showing enmity and aggression to others in any form will definitely make them angry. If anytime we meet, you show enmity towards me, you are aggressive towards me, you want to harm me, I'll definitely, even if I cannot fight you, I'll definitely want to retaliate or fight back. These are the problems that we have in our societies. Again, labeling people with something that they think depreciates them in the eyes of right-thinking members of society. I say something very degrading about you. There is no way you'll be happy with me. Or you say those derogatory things about me. I'll be angry. Again, to remind ourselves of past enmities and grudges, things that have happened in the past. Let me cite an example because this is an Islamic program. So let me cite an example. You see, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated from Mecca to Medina, he met two tribes. They were very combatant in the past, in the pre-Islamic days. One tribe was known as Al-Aus, and the other was known as Al-Hazraj. But when the Prophet ﷺ came to live with them, he was able to merge them. They became together as one people who had never fought in the past. They loved themselves. And there was an old Jewish man known as Bonacase. He saw how they had become united. And he thought their position had been threatened because these people had come together. So he sent a young Jewish man to go and sit amongst them and remind the Al-Aus people about some wars they fought in the past and defeated the Al-Hazraj people. So this provoked them and said, oh, if in the past you defeated our forefathers, it doesn't mean you can defeat us now. So if you like, let's go to battle tomorrow. Both tribes agreed that the next day they were going to fight. They marshaled all their weaponry for the fight. But word got to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who heard about what they intended to do. So he came and he addressed them. He asked them, are you going back to the days of pre-Islamic days when you fought one another, when Islam has come to make you one people as a united people? Then both tribes saw reason in what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was saying, and they laid down their weapons and hugged one another and continued to live in peace. If even here in Ghana we want to recount our history, the fights, the conflict, the wars that our ancestors, our communities fought amongst ourselves before we became a republican state known as Ghana, we can never live in peace if we want to recount the things that happened in the past. Because I'll say, you were the one who hit my grandfather, and this person did that, and that person did that, will always be in perpetual conflict. So, to remind ourselves of past enmities and grudges will always lead us into what? Becoming angry. Sometimes, if we fail to support those who suffer from the flaws of anger, because the prophet said, help your brother, the oppressor, and the oppressed. They said, as for the oppressed, we know he is being oppressed, so there is every need for us to assist him. But what about the oppressor? Why should we assist the oppressor? Say, yes, stop the oppressor from oppressing the oppressed. So sometimes we see things going on and we turn blind eye to those things. So manyeme keke obagba ble masaji yela na pokun ken na bopo ngam bo ho ngam e ja ke make njebie bo ho jebie ni mfe ne ken ni na nkanso aka ne ken ni bo ho ke ne ken ple masaji no meho ameka ameno eti himeji abom nye ha na ameka hi ajeme minke bo nwene wo shinle mi to ba afi to ba na to enjole no ba anye wa oba wo twu oni chumo nkeke ma no kwemo ni kwe gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam be mini eje Makka ni ete Medina e ani na akuche enyoko acho ekomiake al-Aus na acho ekomiake al-Hazraj akuche enyo ne dani Islam baba ametwata ameka mehefun kra she be mini gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam eba ni mene mekum abote Islam mene mekum abote Islam ni echame ni efia megbeme komi ene wona Jew numoko na achola ke ebon case ekwabwa na amefe ekomi na ake da bigbeme ne ka me ye komi eba fe na agbe ha wo wonye ha ni wo ametembe ke be ba ametempe wo hu wo eba ajo ake aneke al-Aus bi atashin ni egba meble masaji neho no mo enkomi ni te no iwe ba bon kanemo na atwa ne keta ne na agbemene na afene obe mi na awie be Aus bi etaya ko me na amekunim al-Hazraj bi on taya ko me na amekuni wo okay wo ne ba ne menefite ne menefe ne wa mefe ame yake amba to weli wa me ko okay wo ba hwe fa ahe wo ba no ko no kwa ake mene yo shinle mi na me yo hiwale wo meneme ya bua ametaya ni biana meneme on ya bua ametaya ni biana ake ameba no shiwiemo Sheikh Abdur Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ide wo ne ba ni na me bo na me bua me na bia me ake ani nyankunye se nyenya be mi ni Islam bako be mi ni lebe ni ekome fe mo benyete nyankunye se nya bote na kanshin le mi ekun be mi ni Islam eba na efe nya gbeme ekome ni nya etu enjole mi ane kenye no nyele ake ma wala ba agma me nyele ake ni bi ba afitelo kui enyo na efe susu wie mo ni gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ekame wiyo na meke ametaya ni bi ehwieshi na amefua amehi na amefe ekome ekun ni amenshi mene kote Saudi Arabia te Medina amegweku meje oluwe shi ebela ke meneke mene ihina ejake Islam ba fi amegbeme komi ke aba gbable masajin ye Ghana nepo game ba aka ke ni wo game ni mene ma Ashanti mo ka meteta ne na Ashanti me ba ke no aka chi mene fi ne wo ke mene me angla bi ba ke wo ke mene fi to afi to wan shi tu injole mi so manyeme e wo ble masajin ne howe wo ba shi wo se agbene money minfu eha ayelawi ashishile yegbeko no be pie wonye wo wa me ni no ha ni na kan minfu ehia memi wo ke ya agbode nchepu e ba che bi e ba che na ba ke ona mene wo ka mefu bo fe wo ne ba fi minsmu ni okami kitna ke ken gbo se po de nche mene o ke le fi ko mi obana keke aduna kani ke wo bi ke nabi ewo jinoi ni eba nete denche be na kani enye weku emi isake wo mwene wo gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam money ayela awi ke awi lo nye wa ameye nyon fen na meka onyu wo gbalo mona ayela awi ele wonu shishi no ne woni san wo wale aplale ayela awi ashono ko yede shi money ya awi mi no san wo wale ne ke nye wale ko ni pa efonfi mo ni money ayela awi ehun nye wale bona afi mi ni enye gie na kan minfun ke na kan dole keje mi so manye me wokwe noni ji minfun ke the causes of anger noni ke minfun ba keji nyombo egbeko ni weye wala mi wo ba kwe the effects of anger ke moku minfun ni enyo efitio ke wo kwe no se keke agbeni wo kwe anger management boni ke moku minfun isake emi minfun eha ni na kan minfun etenshi don ewo nyombo denche ejo ne kenika se moneno eha wo me atwi na efite boku ya na ebo radio to bake tomo sane ne ni ya no ye wo akuchu emi lo wo ku emi alo no po aba awi ohene nyombo le denche eha ni nuni miejo nungani enehwe wotwi no ni bonu wotwi efite nyombo denche isa eha wo
ngo asa wotwi ni efite